everyone. Welcome to Alberta Founders Podcast. And I would like to welcome my friend 𝐀𝐥𝐿. And we've been friends for years, I would say. She was actually one of our mentors in the government of Alberta when I used to work there before. And she has gladly accepted my request to join us in the Alberta Founders Podcast. So thank you so much for joining today, 𝐀𝐥𝐿, and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Ham. It's nice to be here.
Okay, wonderful. All right, let's start with the nooks and crannies of the question, the way we'd like to call it over here. So for the first question over here, 𝐁𝐥𝐿, what would you describe your business as? What do you folks do as a business? And who do you serve as a market? And what actually motivated you to start this business?
Yeah, thanks. So nice to meet everyone. I'm Inoshka Fernandez. I'm from Edmonton, and I am the founder of Marcelino Marise Solutions, which is a corporate governance consultancy that I started in 2023. A very long career with the Alberta Public Service, where Hems, you and I got the pleasure of working with each other, and it was a lot of fun then. As I approached my 20-year anniversary, I thought, I want to just see what else I can do. I had started my career in the nonprofit sector and moved into private shortly after I graduated from university. And so I wanted to try something different. And so I incorporated my company in 2023. And when I left the government of Alberta, I actually went to a consulting firm on a full-time retainer. So it was a really nice transition between a stable, corporate job and moving back into private sector and into the more maybe unpredictable world of consulting. And I never actually thought that I was going to run my own business under my own brand. So in terms of the inspiration to do this, it was actually a matter of family circumstance. About a year into my term with that full-time retained client, my mother's dementia symptoms started to progress quite rapidly, and I was getting very concerned about how my dad was going to be able to manage with taking care of her. So I made a decision to step away from that contract and to go out entirely on my own. I did none of the things that you're supposed to do. I didn't have a plan. There were no anchor clients that I could take with me. I really didn't know how I was going to get things done. I just knew that I needed to make this change for the sake of my family. And so it's been a lot of learning on the fly. I just completed my first full year as a solopreneur. It's been all of the emotions, very rewarding, and I'm really glad that I did it because sadly we lost my mom last summer, and so I certainly have no regrets about the decision to do this uh, career pivot for the sake of being able to support her and my dad. But yeah, it's been a really great journey. So Marcelino Marise Solutions, like I mentioned, is a corporate governance consultancy that works primarily with public sector and nonprofit organizations in three different ways. One, I come in and I assess people's policy infrastructure to determine if they've got their key risks covered off in properly documented ways that people can follow and leadership can hold staff accountable for. The second thing that I do is I take people's lovely strategic plans that they like to go away and build on retreats and then say, great, you've written it. And now how are you actually going to put it into action? Have you taken your 30,000-foot goals and chunked them into tangible, assignments that are the responsibility of specific people so you can actually show achievement on those over the course of the year or whatever your reporting cycle is. And the third thing that I do, which is probably the most fun and the one that I love the most, is leadership consulting specifically for staff engagement and retention, especially when it comes to younger workers. I'm a Gen Xer, and certainly having worked in a unionized environment with people that are much younger than me, they're bringing some very different expectations into the workplaces. And as is different from the baby boomers in my generation who were told when things aren't going well, keep your head down and just power through. Younger workers are saying, no, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to up and leave. And I don't think all organizations have really understood that. So that's a big part of what I do as well.
Oh, thanks for that, 𝐁𝐥𝐿. Yeah, that's right. And younger workers, the Gen Z folks, do not think in the same format. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, they're more like, hey, it's done. I'm leaving immediately. So
And it's not a bad thing because I think ultimately all of us want the same thing, which is good, accountable leadership.
Hmm.
So, to a certain degree, I say good on you for voting with your feet and not putting up with stuff that's not meeting your standard. I mean, we all have the right to, work in respectful office cultures where our opinions are valued and recognized. So,
Yeah.
I just think it's a very positive shift that we're trying to make. It's one that we should have made a long time ago, but if this is finally the tipping point that's going to get us to those results, then good, let's go.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's go on to the next one. What's the one thing in your business at this point that annoys you the most, that single-handedly annoys you the most? Is it sending emails or talking to people or making videos on TikTok? Some people are doing that these days. What is it that annoys you the most at this point?
I have a whole separate rant about how smartphones and social media have ruined us, but the new way of just ghosting people. If you don't want my services, I'm fine to hear the word no, but just return my phone call or my email and let me know. It's kind of
Mm.
frustrating when you meet with someone for discovery, you go through a proposal process. They say, yeah, 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 we've got the budget. And then you're ready to sign the contract, and all of a sudden it's radio silence. So that's definitely one thing I wish I could take a magic wand and erase.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. And we've got the same situation with our platform as well. We try to speak to B2B folks. They book a meeting, and as you said, do a discovery call, sometimes even 1 hour. And they're like, okay, I'll need to speak to my this, I need to do this, I need to talk to whatever. And then they never show up after that, mostly.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the Canadian thing where we think we're being polite by not telling someone no. it's it's actually the opposite. So I wish we would be a little bit more comfortable with just having the conversation of saying, "No, I'm not interested," and that's fine.
I think you answered the next question that I had already, which is which specific problem would you want to magically poof disappear one day? I think it connects to that one, right?
A little bit. I mean, I think you know, one of the biggest issues as a solopreneur is the sales cycle. You are constantly looking for your next project, even when you're working on one. And again, because I came into this particular position with no particular training or long-term plan, it was trying to figure out what the sales cycle for my services is and understanding that it's a longer term thing that really is based in relationship. I like to joke, I'm not a bag of chips. I'm not the $2 decision that you're going to make standing in line at the checkout aisle, right? This is
Yep.
a bigger investment of time and money. And so it takes time to nurture that. And it can be very frustrating when you start out because you're doing all the right things. And it might not be coming to fruition right away because you need to invest that time in that relationship.
Yeah, and that would mean a more inclination towards B2B sort of business, right? Where people don't
100%. Yes.
understand that B2C is, as you mentioned, buying chips off of dollar store or whatever, but B2B is a completely different ball game. Like you have partnerships, you need to speak to people. So to the students watching, B2B is a completely different ball game than B2C.
Yeah.
So
And having been in the public service for as long as I was, B2B and B2C weren't even terms that I knew until a couple of years ago, right? So it's been a whole bunch of learning for me.
yeah, no, absolutely. And would you like to share, like, to get better at sales or to get more acquainted with that? Do you buy a course or are you reading from a book or anything of that sort?
So as I have, as I say it, rediscovered the Edmonton ecosystem, I've been really impressed with all of the services that are available through things like Edmonton Unlimited and some of the other platforms that exist for new business owners is exciting because I think Edmonton has a reputation as a public service town. And certainly those are, three of our biggest employers. But there's also a huge startup community and a very strong business community here. And I just don't think I ever realized how much of an ecosystem there is for in terms of supports and resources. So it's
Hmm.
been about me being very proactive in finding them, seeking them out and taking advantage of what they have to offer.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Let's go on to the next one. Do you, as a founder, have you got the shiny object syndrome? Do you have it or you don't have it? And if you have it, how do you tackle it?
Procrastination is a great way to get out of doing the stuff that you have to do, right? So, I would like to think that I've gotten a lot better at that. I'm certainly more advanced in my career than, say, some of the students that might be listening. I've been in the workforce for over 30 years at this point. So I think I've developed some good disciplines around, how I try to plan my week and how to plan my day so that I hold myself accountable for some goals. But don't get me wrong, it's hard. And especially when it's just you in a home office, it can sometimes be really hard to stay motivated and to stay on track. So I would like to think I don't have that syndrome anymore, but it's definitely a struggle that, continues on every day.
Yeah, I mean, I have some parts of this still going on with me. I've built so many apps. We have to understand how to actually sell it because we keep on making and making and making. But yeah, okay, wonderful. Well, the next one is, what's the most mentally exhausting part of your business that you know about, but nobody actually sees that on the outside? Is it coding at 2 a.m. or speaking to people after hours or making PowerPoints? What is it?
Oh, the mood swings and the 2 a.m. cold sweats. What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? I think entrepreneurship, especially at the start, when you're just trying to establish yourself and you're in build phase and you're trying to let the community know that you exist and what you do and present your offerings in a way that's going to land with your target audience. It's terrifying, right? Especially when you're on
Mhm.
your own, as I am right now. I don't have any business partners. I don't have any team members. It's just me. And you can sometimes get into your own head and wonder, like, have I actually done enough for today? It's something that I've been struggling with because I think, especially after this past year where I was really trying to build my own brand on my own and acquire those clients, it never feels like you're doing enough, right? And that
Yeah.
can lead to some pretty unhealthy practices in terms of the number of hours you're working a day. I have small kids, I have a husband, I have a dad, I have things to take care of. And so I need to really be conscious of the fact that my business doesn't become my sole identity and my sole purpose in life, and that can be really
Mhm.
hard. So, it's something that you watch, I guess, and try to have some friends or family hold you accountable for and just support you through that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part people don't understand when you're trying to do something new or even start something by yourself. You need that support, like family structure, friends you can speak to and discuss your ideas.
100%.
Otherwise, burnout is very common. I would say if there's nothing to help you, then yeah.
And could I just do a quick little plug for one of the volunteer opportunities I'm involved in? So, Lean In is an international platform devoted to women's professional development. And the primary service offering of that organization is something called Circles, which are small cohorts of women that go through 6 to 8 months on any sort of topic that binds them together. I'm leading a circle right now for new women entrepreneurs. We've decided to define as 3 years or less of experience. As it turns out, everyone in our group is all in their first year, first or second year. And it has been such a great help to have that support network of people who are going through the same struggles. Because, I love my husband. We've been together for a long time and he's very supportive, but he's still with government. Before that, he was in the military. He's never owned his own business or even worked in the private sector. And so, as supportive as he is, he just doesn't understand some of the things that I'm going through. So, to have that network of people who do can be so, so helpful. And I definitely encourage people to seek out some sort of a community when they're starting out.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a great initiative. Yeah. Being in Edmonton, yeah. And it's not all the shiny private jets or Lamborghinis or Ferraris you see online. Oh, entrepreneurship, freedom. And it's not really like that at the beginning stages. So,
Yeah, for sure.
okay, wonderful. Well, building up off of that last point that you just mentioned, what was one thing that you thought would be very easy in the beginning stages, but actually it was way harder than you expected?
Uh, I think the going through all of the emotional stages and just um the mind games that get played within yourself when you start to question, did I make the right decision? Am I smart
Mhm.
enough to do this? Was this the right thing to do? I didn't really appreciate how much worrying there was going to be. And I don't think that's something we often talk about because a lot of time, even these forums, are for people to share their stories after they've gone through that initial
Mm,
3, 5, whatever year period, and now they're in the success, right? Maybe they're not at the Lamborghini stage, but they're doing really well. They're established. They're a known commodity. So I think it's really important to have authentic conversations about what that first 1 to 2 years looks like, because it can be very scary, especially if you don't have any previous experience and you're just kind of learning as you go through, right? I mean, for me, because I had such an established career, I took some comfort in the fact that I developed a really solid reputation for the work that I do. I've built up an extensive skill set in the services that I offer. So I was a bit of a known commodity that way. But to put it out under a brand new brand that no one's ever heard of, to start going after a target audience that you've clearly defined, that's a whole other thing, right? So
yeah.
I think the emotional journey was not one that I really anticipated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I should say you are really brave. Like you are genuinely very brave to do this. Like, not even lying. Like, because most people never take that jump at all. Specifically, if they have a job,
Yeah,
they have some kind of, they never go forward in that direction. So you are a
thank you.
very brave
Brave or
person.
foolish. I'm hoping that brave prevails. So we'll see. But thank you. I appreciate that. And it's true, I mean, I was in my mid 40s when I decided to make a career change. Not a lot of people do that, right? And there was
Yeah.
I wasn't at risk of being laid off or fired or anything. This was just purely a decision of me going, I want to see what else is out there in the world. And yeah, so it can be
Yeah.
done. And I certainly encourage people to give it a try. And I even said to my husband, if this doesn't work out, I can always go and get a job, right? I am
Mhm.
employable. I just wanted to try this and see where it led.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's keep on moving to the next one. Well, as a founder, have you been dragged through this fire of entrepreneurship? How do you face this chaos and turn this into clarity for you every single day? Do you have a favorite mantra you follow, a favorite routine? Do you eat an ice cream, watch a podcast, go for a walk? What exactly is it that pumps you up for the day to face this chaos every single day?
I love lists. I am a list person. I organize even my weekend. Every weekend, I'm writing down what needs to be done. So, I like to take a real project management approach to the way that I'm running the business. Um, I've got different types of tools to help me stay organized in terms of what are the calls that I've made, what are the follow-ups that I need to do, what are the things that I need to do for my own social media and continued brand promotion, how I being strategic about the networking opportunities that are coming my way. So I've gotten into a routine of setting aside some time on Friday to do my weekly company administration and also to plan for the week ahead. And it doesn't feel like I can start my weekend until those tasks are done. And I've
Mm,
been taking that approach for about 4 years. It's something I started in the public service actually, is to not shut down on a Friday until you have clarity on what's going to happen the next week. And I find that just even taking that 20 minutes is a very, very calming exercise, because then you're setting yourself up and you know what needs to be done.
no, absolutely. Then precision is extremely necessary so you can decide what happens the next day. So you're not just dwindling in circle, like what do I do
Scrambling,
today?
or
Yeah.
you're prone to the procrastination monster too, right? So if you say, okay, there are 5 things I need to get done, these 2 are going to
Yeah.
take a lot of my time. You schedule the time to get them done on the Monday and the Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Because you're right, like as a founder, there is no boss above you. You are the boss, you are the manager, you are the project manager, you're the CEO. So if you don't do it, no one's coming to say, hey, you better do it. It's 1 o'clock.
Right.
That's the muscle that folks have to develop eventually. But yeah, oh, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Well, moving along, can you share any feedback or any tips for students and first-time founders watching this, specifically for networking? They have made their first product, or at least an idea is what they have, but they're very scared of speaking to people. They don't know how to go to networking events because they don't know anyone. Should they buy a suit or trim their hair or get some kind of specific posture when they speak to people? Like, what should they do if they want to express themselves in these networking events and meet new people? Any advice for them?
I think networking has gotten a bit of a bad rap because I think a lot of people equate it to how many business cards can I collect in X number of minutes. And what I wish people would think a little bit more about is how do you turn opportunities for networking into opportunities to build genuine connection with other human beings and start a relationship? You might not talk about your product or your service in that first conversation, and that's fine. If you have found a point of common ground to have a conversation with someone, they're going to be more willing to want to do business with you, regardless of whatever it is that you're looking to sell to them. So I think it can be very exhausting as someone who does go to a lot of these events to be approached by the people that are like, firm handshake, look you in the eye. I'm going to decide in 5 seconds if you're going to do anything for me, and then I'm going to take off if not.
Mm.
I want to actually build those relationships. And so I really encourage people to we're all humans at the end of the day, regardless how much money we have or whatever our status is in terms of our company. We want to have interesting conversations. So be interesting, build that genuine connection, and see where the conversation takes you from there. And maybe you're not going to make the point that you want to make that night, but if you've got an opening to have an additional conversation later, the chance of your success just went up a little bit.
I mean, the point is to not be scared and just go out and speak to people and see what happens, right? Um,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because most people do not even take that first step. They're like, oh, what will people think about me? What will they say to me? What should be my first line look like? Should I have a tough handshake or a weak handshake? Should I get my shoulders propped back or all of those
So
things? Yeah.
there's a lot of books and things that'll talk to people about tips on that. And I have some sad news for you. We're usually so wrapped up in our own life, we're not paying attention to half of that. So, provided you don't have soup spilled all down your shirt and, your hair is greasy, if you're a presentable human being and you look like you're trying to be a professional person, no one's really going to remember much else except what the connection was when you talked,
Hmm.
or if there wasn't one. So focus on that.
Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Well, let's move on to section 2 of this podcast, which is the rapid fire round. Are you ready for those
I
questions?
don't know. We'll see.
Okay, wonderful. The idea is that you would answer these in 2 to 3 words or sentences, as short as possible, and whatever comes to your mind. So,
Okay.
okay, so let's start with the first one. One tool you'd swear by.
Excel. I have been living my life in Excel for about 15 years now. I have got to-do lists, project trackers, everything. Love Excel. Back it up every single week.
Wonderful. Okay. One tool you'd never use again.
I don't know about never use again, but I have worked in a lot of SharePoint environments, which can be quite frustrating. So that's not my preferred tool. I do really like shared systems, but that one has caused me a lot more grief than I think it's worth.
Okay, wonderful. What is your favorite book?
I actually got a recommendation earlier this fall to read 4,000 Weeks, and I think maybe I was in a more reflective mood than normal with the death of my mom, but that is such a fantastic book to really challenge your mindset about what are you doing with your allotted time on Earth, and I really enjoyed that, so I'd recommend it to anyone.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite food?
I love food, so it really depends on my mood. I don't think I've ever met a food I didn't like. So, I love chocolate. I love gourmet cooking. I love tapas. Um, I'm a bored eater, which is terrible and a habit I've been trying to, rid myself of since my 20s, but all of it. And we're so
Okay,
lucky in Edmonton that we've got, I think I heard some statistic that there's, 6 restaurants for every neighborhood or something like that. It was a really big number. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. I know there's lots of restaurants. I didn't know about the numbers part. I should look it up.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, wonderful. What metrics do you check the most in your business?
For me, I have found LinkedIn to be a very worthwhile platform. And so I really been getting into the analytics on that. Um, you know, in my line of work and with the Edmonton business community being quite active on that platform, I made the decision to invest in that as the only social media that I do. And I'm really excited that it started to pay off. I'm very, very diligent about it. And just a couple of months ago, I was at a meeting where I was introducing myself to people at a table, and two of them said, "Oh yeah, we know who you are. We follow you on LinkedIn." And I thought, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I've never met either of you before." So that was good validation that I think I'm doing something right there. So I'm going to continue with that.
Nice. Wonderful. One thing that has saved you more than once in your business.
Relationships, always relationships. Even earlier this year, I had a situation where, um, in regards to an insurance product that I needed, was kind of left hanging by one provider, panicked because a deadline was coming up, and I just did a Google search for, insurance companies in Edmonton. Seeing one name that came up, I'm like, "Oh, my friend works there." Phoned him. He dropped everything to help me through it. I can't thank this man enough. He literally saved a contract for me that day. And so many examples I've got of where investing the time in the people and having that relationship, regardless of whether or not you've ever done business before, can really come to help you.
Mm, absolutely. Okay, well, this is the final question. What is your final motivation feedback or pep talk, we should say, for students and first-time founders watching both of us who have never done anything in entrepreneurship, who've never touched anything for basically in this environment, but they're interested to start entrepreneurship. They have watched some Instagram videos and they are very motivated. As I mentioned before, they've seen the private jet lifestyle and they want to do something with it. What would be your motivational pep talk for them? And then what's next for your business?
So I think one of your earlier guests had said, don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. Anyone can be their own business owner, can be an entrepreneur. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And I think where we are now, there are so many resources and platforms available to people in business that are provided by local governments, industry associations that probably didn't exist 25, 30 years ago. So find those, use them to your advantage, and really just make sure that you take all the learnings in that you can. In terms of what's next for me, I'm hoping to keep growing. The other thing that I just started a couple of months ago is a website called 𝐻𝐸sandwich.ca, and it chronicles the journey that my family went through with my mom's dementia and now into the processing of grief. Because when my father and I first started to make the observations about mom's memory, it was really hard to find made in Alberta resources online. And so I have started what I hope is going to be a helpful blog and resource list for other families that are going through this, just so that they don't feel alone and they know that all of the feelings they're going through are totally normal and part of the process. So I'm hoping to continue to do some developmental work on that. Um, and just looking forward to being able to work with more clients through my own business this year.
Well, it was great having you today in the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for the invitation, Hems. Really appreciated it. Thank you.